This is the story of Kubota. Kubota was founded in 1890 as a company specialized in producing agricultural equipment such as iron pipes, water pipes, and weights for balances. In 1922, Kubota began manufacturing 3-horsepower oil engines. Kubota introduced the first Japanese-built rider-driven tractor in 1960, the T-15. 12 years later, in 1972, the manufacturer stepped into the American market, selling 2,000 tractors annually. In 1974, Kubota introduced the KH-1, the construction industry's first fully rotating compact excavator, and the success of this machine led to the creation of Kubota's construction machinery division 2 years later. In 2000, Kubota unveiled the industry's first subcompact tractor, the BX series. In 2010, the brand entered the track loader market and went from $9 billion in revenue that year to $22 billion in 2023. Freightliner, Kenworth, Mack, Peterbilt. These were their very first trucks ever. Mack Truck's first truck was built in 1905 by Mack Brothers. It was a 5-ton capacity chain-driven wagon used to haul sand. Mack officially became a brand in 1922 with the introduction of the AC models. The very first Peterbilt truck ever, the Model 260, was introduced in 1939. It was primarily designed for logging and construction industries, and it featured a rugged construction and powerful performance for that time. Even though Kenworth was founded in 1923, their trucks found their roots through the Gersix Motor Company in the early 1900s. The first truck was a heavy-duty unit equipped with a 6-cylinder gasoline engine. Possibly the most beautiful, very first truck ever, the Freightliner Model 600, introduced to market in 1943. It was built by Consolidated Freightways and Freightliner Corporation, and it set the pace for all trucks yet to come. In 1977, Northern Manufacturing Company out of Montana built a tractor that would set the record for the world's largest tractor ever produced. This extraordinary machine was named the Big Bud 747. Equipped with a Detroit diesel engine rated at 1,100 horsepower, the 747 measures over 27 feet in length, 20 feet in width, and stands nearly 15 feet tall with an operating weight of 50 tons. Purchased by the Rossi brothers at a price of $300,000, the Big Bud 747 went to work in the fields of California for 11 years before being sold to Florida's Willowbrook Farms in 1988. The 747 was purchased by Robert and Randy Williams from Big Sandy, Montana in 1997. Facing tire supply issues, the tractor was moved to museums until 2020, when the beast worked farm ground once again. So they wanted to put graders out of business with this? 15 years ago, John Deere released the 764, a machine labeled as a high-speed dozer. The point of it? Making a grader with greater flotation and better maneuverability, and a faster dozer that won't damage pavement. The 764 HSD could perform at about double the speed of a similarly sized crawler. John Deere designed the unique machine with an articulated frame dozer that could grade accurately at speeds up to 6 miles per hour. The 764 had an operating weight of 34,000 pounds or 15.5 metric tons. The high-speed dozer was powered by JD's PowerTech 6.8-liter engine rated at 210 horsepower. Sold for $330,000 when it came out, the 764 high-speed dozer remained in Deere's catalog for a few years before being officially discontinued without being replaced by a successor of any kind. This is the story of defunct Hymac. The Hymac company was founded in 1946. The firm specialized in the manufacturing of excavators and released the world's first all-hydraulic 360 excavator, as well as the world's first all-hydraulic crane. In the 60s, Hymac released the Imperial series, which included models such as the 580, the 880, or the 1280. In 1972, Hymac took over Whitlock Brothers, a backhoe loader manufacturer. In the 80s, Hymac faced structural challenges on top of dealing with major competitors such as Liebherr, Caterpillar, or Case. A new series of yellow excavators produced in the late 80s would be the brand's last hope. In 1993, Hymac produced its very last machine, a Model 181B, before ceasing activities. Today, the Hymac name remains an absolute British staple, and many Hymac machines are still active all around the world. Did you know people were still working in this building when they moved it? In 1960, a dam in Egypt demanded the relocation of a stone pyramid. 1,000 stones weighing 30 tons each were numbered and carefully dismantled, making it one of the biggest structural relocation projects in history. John Rennie's London Bridge began to sink into the Thames River decades after being built. After the city put it up for sale, an oil man bid on it for $2.5 million. He then brought it to Arizona in 1971. In China back in 2016, it took 10 days for the Fugang building to be relocated exactly 120 feet from its original spot. The 33 million pound move is now listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. In Indianapolis, the Indiana Bell building was rotated 90 degrees in 1930 as part of an expansion project. Employees were still working in the building while it was being rotated. Absolute geniuses behind these projects. So is this the most perfect tractor ever released by JD? There's no doubt that John Deere made amazing tractors over the past decades, but once in a while the manufacturer releases what we could call a lightning in a bottle, and the 4840 is definitely one of these extraordinary machines. Introduced in 1978 as part of the Iron Horses series, the 4840 was the largest tractor of the bunch, featuring the almighty 466 cubic inch engine rated at 180 horsepower. Sold for 57 grand brand new in '78, the 4840's design was particularly focused on operating comfort. It was the first tractor with the personal posture seat and Hydra cushion suspension system. In 1982, the 4840, which featured the legendary PowerShift transmission, was discontinued and replaced by the 4850. 40 years later, countless units are still running flawlessly all around the world. This is the story of the iconic F-150. In 1975, Ford introduced the F-150, a pickup truck with roots dating back to 1948 and the release of the F-Series. Sitting between the F-100 and the 250, the truck quickly became an American icon. By 1983, the F-150 took over as the lowest-level offering of Ford pickups, and in 1992, the F-150 SVT Lightning was released to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the first Ford factory-produced truck. In year 2004, Ford introduced the famous 11th generation, and the F-150 was redesigned on an all-new platform for an improved ride quality, and the FX4 off-road package became its own trim level. In 2010, the almighty Raptor, a truck optimized for off-road performance, was released, and in 2021, Ford introduced the 14th generation of the F-150, which remains to this day the absolute American standard.